Peace. What's good, Josh? Your brother God Signs up in here once again. Shout out, special salute to the few that do watch, subscribe. Appreciate y'all. I swear people cannot drive, man. Oh my gosh. I don't know if you, let me calm down. I got road rage, but people can't drive out here, man. Anyway, salute to the few that do watch. Appreciate y'all. So basically, we're talking about OutKast today, man. And I got a friend, and he's getting all emotional. He's like, man, Andre said he don't want to rhyme no more, man. Why y'all can't just leave him alone? And I'm like, calm down, dude. God, I'm like, we just fans. Like, you know, we at the workplace talking about hip hop, man, and dude's he's about to cry. So we like, you know, is there ever gonna be an OutKast reunion? And I was like, never say never, you know what I'm saying? Never say never. But I don't know. If you me making music, I understand when you're not inspired, man. Some people, like, when they're going through things in life, like, you know, we all go through our stuff. Some people will, you know, they'll be motivated to make music. Me, I'm the total opposite. Like, if I'm going through something, I don't really want to make music. You know what I'm saying? I force myself to make music like every day just to get better, because I know there's a lot of competition out there. You know what I'm saying? And OutKast being one of my favorite groups, I get it where, you know, this brother would not be, you know, inspired to rhyme anymore. And you gotta be inspired to do it. But the thing that confuses me with Andre 3000 is, like, he does, like, you know, I'll see him on this album, he'll do a verse on that album, and it sounds dope. But for some reason, you know, I guess he just can't, you know, or won't do a full project with Big Boy. And so, shout out to Big Boy. People talk a lot about Andre 3000, but don't sleep on Big Boy, man. Big Boy is a dope MC, man. He keeps getting better and better. You know, it's funny how I found out about OutKast, right? I remember the big thing when Andre came up on The Source. I forgot what year it was, and he was like, you know, the South had got something to say, and he was right. And a lot of people were like booing. I don't know, you know, and a lot of people from the South got this impression, like Big Gip, that people from up north or in New York or whatever were just hating on people from the South. That's not true. You know what I'm saying? That ain't true. Me, I was born and raised in Brooklyn. I've always kept my ear loving music the way I love music. I always listen to other types of music. You know, I was born in like 1980, so there was a time when hip hop wasn't on the radio 24/7 like how it is now. You know what I'm saying? You had Pop, Duran, Steely Dan, and Pink Floyd. I could, you know, all these type of groups my dad used to listen to. He had records, and he had a wide range of records, from Earth, Wind and Fire to Steely Dan to, you know, all these other type of groups, Hall and Oates. So I grew up listening to a lot of different type of music. The only music I would say I probably never was able to like get into was country, because it was just too depressing for me. But other than that, you know, my grandmother moved from Brooklyn to Florida, and I would say, was it 1988, 89? And we were still in New York at that time. My mom decided to, you know, with New York being how it was, my brother was, you know, older brother was getting into, you know, stuff, you know, starting to sell drugs and stuff like that. So she was basically trying to follow my grandmother down here, my pops, they got a divorce. So basically, I would stay in New York, and then when it was time, summertime, I'll come down here. So I got to be able to see the two, New York and the South. The hip hop scene. The hip hop scene in the South was very, very slow at that time. A lot of things was slower down here. I think you had groups like Magic Mike, DJ Magic Mike. If you ever heard of DJ Magic Mike, I found a CD. Is worth something though. DJ Magic Mike, man. I found this in the flea market for like $1. But this came out in like 89. And this is what they were playing down here in hip hop, and as hip hop down here. Of course, in Miami, you had Luke Skywalker, 2 Live Crew, MC Shy D. Is he from Atlanta? But I think MC Shy D was from Miami. But the scene down here was mostly booty music. You know what I mean? The 808s, the sort of like Planet Rock, but big booty girl, shut up on the road. So it wasn't really lyrically, it wasn't lyrical, but it was hip hop. They had the scratching. DJ Magic Mike had the scratching and everything like that. He had those elements, the 808s and all that. But lyrically, they were just on some. It wasn't advanced like, let's say, New York. Of course, the Getter Boys. When the Getter Boys came out, that was a whole different. Elevation there, because they were telling stories of being in the hood, and telling more complex stories. But especially in Florida, it was just more like this booty type music. So a lot of people from the South, the North, we got family from the South. You know what I mean? But that's what we always really heard. We never really heard when I see brothers like Big Gip always talking about, and I don't know what he has with Jay-Z. I don't know, there is some personal, but I don't like to make a division about but it was when I came down here, and people made fun of how I used to speak and how we used to dress. I remember we came down here in 1990 to visit my grandmother, and my brother had the Air Force Ones on, and they were making fun of him. The Air Force Ones, the ones with the strap, not the strap that hangs in the back, the first original ones, the ones you see Rakim always rocking. So, and especially Timberlands, you know what I mean? Rocking Tim. So you knew who the people were from New York because they were wearing Timbs. There was even wearing Ewings. I don't know if y'all remember that, but you can buy Ewings down here. But in New York, or Jersey, or stuff, up north, they sold Ewings, LA too. But down here, you couldn't get it, so you will be able to tell who was from New York or not. Now, coming up to when I was in New York, when I first saw the video of Southern Playalistic Cadillac music. And when the first time I saw that, I was always into funk. You know what I'm saying? P-Funk. My dad had those records. I remember watching, the Earth, Wind and Fire covers, the Dr. Funkenstein and George Clinton and those crazy covers. I used to sit down and watch them as a kid, like, wow. You know what I mean? So I was always into the funk. It reminded me of my pops. So I was digging it, and I'm like, yo, these dudes, and they spitting bars, For some reason, I didn't know they were from Atlanta. You know what I mean? But I didn't give a damn. I was like, yo, this is hot. So following up, they dropped Southern Playalistic Cadillac Funky, that Southern Playalistic, the first album. And I remember going downtown Brooklyn, and buying it. And coming back, You know what I'm saying? We had Walkmans back then. We had the CDs, and I'm playing it, and I'm like, damn, the production is tight as hell. And in there, they got a skit where it's like a plane flying, and they're talking about, they're talking about Georgia, and I'm like, yo, these dudes is from Atlanta, because these dudes is, they're not coming with that booty stuff. They're coming with some hip hop shit, and they come in with like their own style. You can hear that Southern slang, but it's dope because they spitting some bars. So that's the first time I got introduced into OutKast. And from that point on, I was telling all my boys about it. I'm like, yo, you gotta check this group out. Yo, you gotta check this group out. Just like I used to put my boys on 3-6. They didn't even know who the hell 666 Mafia was the first. That's the name they came out with first. And I think they had to change it because of some gang or something like that, if I'm correct. I might be mistaken on that fact. But I was trying to put everybody on, and I'm like, as a producer, I used to always read the credits. I'm like, who the hell is Organized Noise? Yo, these dudes is dope. The whole album was dope. Then I heard, you gotta get up, get out, and get something. Yo, that song, I was like, yo, these dudes they got their own style. So not everybody was hating on OutKast. Now, the radios probably was, and I'm gonna admit it. A lot of New Yorkers are arrogant. You know what I mean? They feel like hip hop was created in the Bronx and stuff like that. So they had a hold on it for years. You know what I mean? So maybe the radios probably were hating on it. The DJs didn't want to play it, but I remember hearing Flex spin it at nighttime, especially when they came out with a Benz and a Beamer for the New Jersey Drive soundtrack. That song is dope when they sampled DOS effects in it. So I was always on OutKast, always when they dropped AT Aliens. And then when Goody Mob came out, it was like, wow, because, I grew up in a household that came through the Nation of Gods and Earths. You know what I'm saying? So we always grew up knowing our knowledge of self and of consciousness and stuff like that. And we never seen a group, that was like the first time I'm like, yo, there's brothers in the South that's conscious, because Goody Mob was coming out. They wasn't on some preachy like Chuck D type stuff. They were spitting that hard stuff, but they were also saying something. You know what I'm saying? They were saying something that you heard messages in there. They was talking about rising up, and I'm like, yo. It just surprised me because I didn't hear anything come out the South like that. So they made a crazy impact when they came out. The whole Dungeon family, that's why I call them hip hop royalty, because nobody came out the South speaking like that. And especially Goody Mob, when they dropped Soul Food, that first album, oh my God, I was on that. I was on the subway trains. So when I hear, Gip, and shout out, I love Goody Mob so much, but when I hear him, speak, it's not true. Everybody wasn't hating on y'all like that. There was some of us that was on that. Good music is good music, man. Regardless where you from, good music is good music. You know what I'm saying? And you could not deny that. You could not deny that when AT Aliens dropped, when Goody Mob first album dropped. I think their best album ever is Aquemini. You know what I mean? I was in work release when that came out, and I picked it up. I saw that it got 5 mics in the source, and I was ready on OutKast. When I listened to the album from beginning to end, there's no skipping. The dopest album. Now, a lot of people might disagree with me on that. A lot of people think AT Aliens is dope, is better, or Stanktonia, which Stanktonia is a dope album. They experimented a lot with it, and it's dope. But Aquemini, hands down, man, it's the dopest album, because on that album, Big Boy as an MC solidified himself right there. He was killing it. Go back and listen to that album. Andre is like they rose to their peak. Everybody rose to their peak. Organized Noise rose to their peak, and they was just coming out like they got a song in there called "If You Scared, Say You Scared," a posse cut, which I think is one of the greatest posse cuts that hip hop ever did, with them and Goody Mob, and they killed it. Cujo from Goody Mob killed that song, but the beat, you know what I mean? So OutKast, they definitely changed, my view. I can't speak for everybody. From my view, from someone from coming from up north, on hip hop coming out the south, because it was like, yo, these dudes is coming with bars, bro, and it wasn't like Luke Skywalker, which it was nothing wrong with 2 Live Crew. I bought 2 Live Crew too. You know what I'm saying? But it was more of, booty music, we called it. You know what I'm saying? And in Orlando, you just had like DJ Magic Mike. He was like the biggest out of there. Cheetah Records, I think he was under. But they didn't have any people coming out the South speaking realness like that. So it was like it's shocking. Like, wow, dudes in the South is conscious. They know what time it is, man. They ain't, because it was always like I said, I used to go back these like the 80s, 90s, and it was a little slower than New York. Of course, New York is like a capital. It's a little faster. It was a little slower down here. You know what I'm saying? They will receive like songs later, but then it started getting, when the internet and stuff like that, it leveled out the playing field. And now, people could say the South. I mean, I think, the West Coast is coming back to take the reins. But the South's been running it for a while when Master P came out. You know what I'm saying? So, that's just my, story of how I learned about OutKast and how they became to be one of my favorite groups, and to break this stigma of everybody up north hating on OutKast, everybody from New York hating on OutKast. Absolute lie. I was on them since the first damn album. Ain't no thing but a chicken wing. I was on that. I was playing that album back to back. It was just dope beats, dope lyrics. How can you deny that? But I ain't gonna listen to it because they're from the South. I'm not on that crap, man. You got good music, I'm on it. And OutKast came out the door swinging. That first album was dope. The second album was even doper. You know what I'm saying? They just kept getting better and better. So similar, just like Mobb Deep. They're one of the groups that's very, it's not that easy to get better and better. Most groups, their sophomore album, everybody heard about the sophomore jinx. Like, they didn't have no sophomore jinx. That second album was better than the first one, and then the third one was better than the second one, and then they just they kept going and going. Now the Love Below, I think that's the weakest. I think that's record wise, it sold the most, but to me it wasn't the old OutKast. You know what I'm saying? The Aquemini OutKast, the AT Aliens OutKast, and Andre started experimenting, which is nothing wrong with that. It was dope, but the Aquemini is still in heavy rotation to this day, man. So that's basically, my talk for the day. OutKast. What's your favorite OutKast album? Mine is Aquemini, like I said, man. I think that album is dope. There's no skipping in it from beginning to end. Skew on the Barbecue. That's one of the illest beats that they flipped that, and I didn't learn who was Organized Noise until the second album. The second album, they had like a comic book in the CD, and they showed the organized noise, like there was like one person, it was like one person and they had like three heads. And I'm like, oh, okay, this is organized noise. It's three brothers. Because I was intrigued by who the hell is these dudes making these beats, man. These dudes is like, they had their own sound. They were using like live instruments. But you can tell that these dudes were hip hop students of hip hop, because they had, they had the sampling, the scratching, you can tell they did their homework. These dudes was raised off of hip hop, and rest in peace to the great Rico Royd, man. We lost a big loss for hip hop. Salute to Ray Murray and Sleepy Brown. Y'all dudes definitely put it down, man. And I was on y'all from the beginning. So all that crap about New York hating on the South and OutKast, not everybody was, man. And I know some brothers in the streets that was banging that because it was dope. It was like some pimp stuff. It came out, the first album sounded like some pimp stuff, and it had that funk, black exploitation movie type crap feeling, you know what I mean? But anyway, I'm gonna stop ranting and get into this gym, man. Just wanted to speak on OutKast. Will they ever get, do a I don't know. I feel like this. I always got a Quemini. I'm listening to Andre 3000 rap right now. You know what I'm saying? I just put on that album and it doesn't get old. You know what I'm saying? I just switch up. Then I'll start listening to AT Aliens, and then I'll go back to Aquemini. So the beautiful thing about music, man, we always got it. You always got it to listen to. You know what I'm saying? So regardless if they don't want to come out with new material, and the new, let me just say this, the solo stuff that Big Boy been putting out is dope. From the first album he has, I can't even pronounce it. I forgot how to pronounce it, but Sir whatever, is dope. Second album, dope. Boomiverse or something like that. I might get these titles wrong, but definitely I got those albums and dope. You know what I'm saying? Big Boy's a dope MC, and the last project he did with Sleepy Brown it's like, I don't know. This dude just keeps like getting better and better, and it's weird how Andre just doesn't have any I listened to the Flute album, and it was more like meditation music to me, and that's not a diss or anything. It just felt like more of a relaxation, meditation music. I don't know if that's what you meant, Andre, about when he did the album, but that's it. Anyway, I'm not gonna talk all your heads off long. Leave your comments if you like. Do you like OutKast? If you do, what's your favorite album? Do you think they'll ever make a reunion? Do you think they need to come back? Do you think sometimes closure is just, because they got a good chunk of work? And like I said, I'm still playing Aquemini to this day, and that came out in '98. So salute to everybody that watch, like, subscribe. Appreciate y'all. Y'all stay safe out there. And if you're in California, prayers go out to y'all, man. I don't know anybody personally out there, but I do follow some people on YouTube out there. I hope OG Bam is all right. The professor, I hope y'all all right out there. And hold it down, man. Stay. Peace.